Hi y'all, you're watching this because you purchased my pattern, the Breezy Bucket Hat pattern. So it is a standard bucket hat using 4-weight cotton yarn. I mean, you can use any weight for yarn, but cotton tends to be the best for the purpose of this hat, which is to keep your head both shaded and cool. So I'm gonna show you the kind of crucial steps for setting this up. I'll be using sugar and cream that I got from Joann's before I went out of business. This particular colorway is pink camo. And we'll take it in steps. So the first step is to make the crown of the hat, so the flat part over the top of your head, the body that goes down, and the brim, which will go out and shade your face. We'll start with the crown, of course, and that's going to be a magic loop. Things you're going to need are a crochet hook. I would say anything within the realm of 4 to 5 millimeters is going to be fine, and as long as your yarn is anywhere like 3 to 4 weight, you should be good. All right, let's do it. All right, let's make our magic circle. So finger guns, working yarn in here, yarn end, tail behind, across the back, and make an X here. So I'm going to do that one more time. Nice, okay. Flip it, crochet hook, face down, the hook is down, go under the first loop, grab the second loop, pull it through, make a backwards K. Now this is when the gymnastics comes in handy. Flip it, and now you have kind of a loop on your hook. Push it up a little bit, and then go ahead and grab that top part of that K. And again, some finagling. I'm going to finagle it through that loop. There you go. And that is your magic loop. So we'll be crocheting into this circle. I'm going to tighten it a bit, pull it on both ends. Okay. Give myself some slack. So that's your magic circle. So magic circle, I put my fingers in it to give it some structure. I need to chain 2, 1, 2, and that's just to get the height we need. Okay, so we've chained 2, we've got the height. I'm now looking at part 1, crown of the hat, row 1. So we've done our chain 2, yarn over, under, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to do that 12 times. Well, 11 more. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now I crochet over my tail just for cleanliness reasons. Now I'm going to pull my tail and tighten it. Wonderful. Now I've got my first round, but I have to join them. So I'm going to stick my hook into this first V, not the chain V, the first V. Great. It's not a tragedy if you stick it into that chain V. It's not a big deal, but keep in mind, that's not where we want that. And then that is our first round. Okay, now we'll go on to round 2. Now we're on part 1, row 2. We are increasing in each of these 12 stitches, so chain 2, and I'll show you how to increase. You're literally just putting 2 stitches in each stitch instead of 1. Oop. right, and that is what we call an increase. I'm going to try that one more time. Yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, hook through, yarn over again, pull through 2, pull through 2. And you do that all the way around. Okay, so that is round 2. This round was 12, this is 24. We're gonna join the round. And now we're gonna chain 2, and we're on to round 3. So that's gonna be a pattern of double crochet, and then double crochet increase. So every other stitch is an increase. Kind of made it a little messy there. Double crochet, increase. Double crochet, double crochet, increase. Sorry, my yarn is not giving me slack. Oops. All right, you do that all the way around. Okay, so I'm back. I have finished the crown of the hat, part 1 in the pattern. We're now moving on to the body. So you'll see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. Now this is kind of a hat, that would be a smaller hat for someone with like 22-inch circumference head, but you definitely want to do more if your noggin or the noggin of the person you're making this for is a little bigger. But knowing that I personally have a tiny noggin, I am going to go ahead and stop there. You see I've joined my round with a slip stitch, so now we move on to what I've been calling the transition ridge. So it's where you move from the crown into the brim, essentially making like a 45-degree or a 90-degree turn maybe. So we've been doing double crochet. We're now moving on to single for this row, and we'll kind of alternate. So I chain 1, and this particular row, in order to make it so that the brim kind of folds in this direction rather than just keeping going straight, great grammar, I'm going to be crocheting this entire round in the back loop only. So this particular side of the V is the one furthest away from me. So I'll show you that up close. So instead of going into both and doing a single crochet, that would be the regular way. Here's what I'll do. So I'll get my hook back in here. All right, so here's my V. I'm gonna insert it into just the back loop, and that's why you'll see in the pattern it says BLO back loop only. So then I'm gonna yarn over, pull through just like I normally would, yarn over, pull through 2. And you are not increasing at all for this entire row. You're keeping the size, there's no increases, there's no decreases for the entire body. So let me just show you one more time. Back loop only. There it is. Yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, one more time. Back loop only, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'll meet you back here once we've made it all the way around and joined this first round of the body. Okay, so I've made my way almost all the way around this single crochet round. Let's do a couple more. Back loop only, single crochet, back. I'll do it so you can actually see it. Back loop only. Oh geez, single crochet. Okay, like that. Pull through. Don't yarn over, just pull through. And that is it From there, my friends, we're gonna start our mesh stitch, and that's gonna start with 4 single crochets, or I'm sorry, 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And essentially you're gonna wanna picture that as like that, if that helps. Then I'm going to skip 2 and double crochet into the 3rd stitch. So yarn over into the 3rd stitch, yarn over, pull through without splitting the yarn. Let's start it again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, yarn over into the 3rd stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we've got our mesh square, essentially. So now I'm gonna do that all the way around. 1, 2, so chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, into the 3rd, double crochet. Do it so you can actually see it. Let's see. She's gonna give me trouble. All right. Pull through 2. And it will give you a little trouble because you're kind of working with not much structure here, but you're gonna make your way all the way around until you reach back around this side. All right, see you then. Okay, so I've made my way around with this mesh stitch, and this is a perfect way for me to showcase how forgiving this pattern is, and I guess just bucket hats in general. So the pattern is, you know, you do your double crochet, you chain 2, you skip 2 stitches, and then you crochet into the next. Now, I must have messed up at some point and missed a stitch. So what we're gonna do is kind of sneak it in there, kind of. So instead of putting our double crochet into the 3rd stitch, we're gonna put it into the 2nd. And then all we're gonna have is these 2 on either side giving us space, but with our next like mesh stitch, we'll be able to compensate for it. So that's just something, when you do it, you'll do it right, but I must have not been paying attention and missed a couple stitches. So I'm gonna yarn over and then skip 1 stitch, go into the 2nd, make my double crochet, and I am still gonna chain 2 because we want our next row to have the right amount of stitches. And then I'm going to slip stitch into this 2nd stitch here, this green one. Just slip stitch to join our mesh stitches. And that is that first mesh row. We're gonna chain 1, and then we can move on to the 3rd row in the body of the hat. Okay, so just checking in here where we're at. We've got our crown of the hat. We've started our body, which currently is just a row of single crochet and a row of double crochet mesh stitches. Now we are gonna give our hat a little more structure by doing 2 rows of single crochet. So I'm gonna show you this next row of single crochet pretty explicitly because I know it can be challenging when you have these big gaps between like structured stitches like this. So I've just done a single chain to get our height. And then the pattern is gonna be 2 single crochets in each gap, and then 1 single crochet for each double crochet. So you don't need to worry about going into any certain V. You just put your 2 single crochets in there. Great. And then for the double crochet, I'm going into this space here. So under that V right there. Big clunky crochet hook here. All right, so that's the pattern. 2 into the gap, 1 into this double crochet. So there's 2 into the gap, one into the single crochet. All right, so go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the start of the next round. All right, I'm back. I've completed my round of single crochets, meaning 2 single crochets in the gap and then 1 single crochet in the top of the double crochet. Now I am going to start my second row of single crochets, and this one is easy peasy because all I do is chain 1 and then start crocheting right into the V's. So here we go. Just like that, no weird back loop only stuff. Crocheting weird because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. All right. And when I've made my way all the way around, I'll check back in. Okay, we have our last row, at least in this part of the pattern, of single crochet. So we've started our brim, and just for clarity, the brim pattern is single crochet, mesh stitch, single crochet. So now we got our single crochet. Now we'll do our mesh stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. That's going to be the first part of our mesh stitch. Skip 2, double crochet into the third. Great. And you'll notice it's kind of like alternating. That is normal. You have not done anything wrong. So here I keep going. Chain 2, skip 2, double crochet into the third. And you'll keep going around until you hit the end again here. All right. See ya at the end of this row. Okay, we have now finished both the crown of our hat and the body, which is nice and breathable thanks to that mesh stitch. And now we'll get started on the brim, which is by far the easiest part in my opinion. So, all right. Now, the last thing we did was put a row of single crochets in this last round of the body. So we're switching now to double crochets. All right, so our first move is going to be to chain 2 to get our height. And then we're going to be working double crochets into the front loop of all of these stitches. So if you'll see in the pattern, it says FLO is in front loop only. That means we are only working into, so here's our back loop that we worked into for our body. Front loop we're working into for our brim. So it looks like that. So back loop is going to look like that. See if I can get it to finagle. That would be it. And yarn over. Just don't split your yarn like I do. Pull through 2, pull through 2. All right, let me show you that again. Yarn over, front loop only, yarn over and pull through 2, pull through 2. So let's do that until we've done 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. 6. There's gonna be 6. Okay. And now to make sure that our brim actually flares, we're gonna add our increase on the 7th stitch. So here's 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. Great. So that's the pattern you're gonna follow all the way around. Okay, so I'm at the end of the first row of my front loop only, well, this will be my only front loop only row or round, but the first round of my brim of my hat. So that's kind of what it's looking like right now. You can see it kind of coming together. And I'm ending on a increase here, that's 7. So front loop only. Okay, there is 1, and then there's the increase. All right, and then I'm gonna join here, if I can finagle it. I love cotton, but sometimes it is really hard to work with. Okay, great. So the brim from here on out is pretty easy. Now I'm doing the quickest brim version. You'll see in my pattern I have a floppy, kind of more sun hat-y version, and then a ruffly one. This one that I'm doing, just the standard like bucket hat brim, is by far the easiest, the quickest. So I'd say if you're new to bucket hats, crocheting in the round, making just, I would say wearables at all, I would stick with this one that I'm about to show you, or that I am showing you, but there are 2 other options if you are looking for something else. So we are going to get started on row or round 2 of our brim. So chain 2 to get our height, of course. And now this is where it gets kind of mindless and easy. So the last row we did was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th was an increase. This time it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 is an increase. So, and you can do it in the entire V. So we're not doing front loop, back loop this time. So show you how that goes. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here is 8. Lovely. And then that is your pattern throughout the entire rest of the round. I usually do about at least 4 rounds for a bucket hat brim, but I have had it where folks are like, I want it to be a little bigger. I would say 5 is probably a good bet. 6 is getting pretty wide to the point of it being kind of sun hat-ish. So anywhere like 5 usually I think is the best bet, but 4 if you're looking for something a little shorter, 6 if you're looking for something a little more sun hat-y. So I'm going to continue this pattern all the way to the end here. Also, I just want to let you know, if you get irritated with like the little bumps you see in rounded patterns because our increases are lining up, please know you can put your increase anywhere in this group of in this case now 8 stitches. You don't have to put it on 8, you can put it on 6 or 4 or anything, as long as you're getting 1 increase in this entire group of 8 stitches. And same goes for when we move up to the next row, which will be a group of 9 stitches. So 8 regular double crochets, 9th gets the increase. So please know there's a lot of flexibility with that. You do not need to stick to the increase being at the very last stitch. All right, see you back here when we're at the end of our brim. All right, so this is the basically completed hat. We got your crown, the body, which you'll see we've got our 3 mesh rows, or like a collection of mesh rows, and our rim, which I made 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds for, and that's usually a good length for, or yeah, width, length, whatever, for me. Now this last step is completely optional, but I like to do it because it gives the end a nice like finish. Is I'll switch out my 4.0 crochet hook for a one that's about 1 millimeter bigger, 5.0, and I'm just going to slip stitch all around the end. So I'll show you how that works. So you don't want to go into this first stitch with a slip stitch because it's just going to undo itself, because there's no loop holding it down, right? So I'm going to go into this next one, pull through and pull through. And you may be wondering, why do I have to size my crochet hook up? Just from experience, I found that using the size you've been using makes your work pucker. So it makes it way, way, way too tight. So that's really all you're doing. Slip stitch through, which is literally just hook in the stitch, yarn over, pull through, don't yarn over, and then just pull through. And that will do it. Beyond that, my friends, you're just gonna weave in your ends, which the only end should be from your tail on your brim, and also this end here. And you'll just use let's see if I can give you an example of a tapestry needle like this to weave it in and then clip off the end. All right, and that should get you through. Hope that helped. Okay, so I just finished the finishing touches on the head. I wove in my ends, and I put my final round of slip stitch in, not in that order, but let me show you the final product. So this is it. This is what the final, the finished version of the Breezy Bucket Hat looks like. This is the back. So it's rounded enough to accommodate a human noggin. Side view, so you can see the mesh that will allow your head and your hair to breathe. And there's the front. You can see, because we used like a weight for cotton, that hi, my dog's saying hi. Hi, Lily. It has some structure to it. So even if I shake it around, this brim is not really going anywhere. So yeah, that is it. Most people's head sizes, I would make a couple extra rows at the top. So instead of doing 7 like I did, do 8, 9, or 10. And then because the mesh is so forgiving, adjust as needed. But I hope you enjoy your project and get more than one use out of this pattern.